Here's a deal with a lot of Riz. Get 20-piece chicken McNuggets and a basket of fries for just $8.99. Only at McDonald's.
He always checked on me. He checked on my family. He just a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Jonathan was my client, and it was my honor to help him with his personal injury case. At Whittemart Key, it's more to us. It's personal.
Covering big local news with unique views only from Local Sky 3.
Let's talk the housing market for a minute this morning because Bruce Dodd from Chatt Mortgage cleared his calendar to spend a little bit of time with us this morning. And he said, Julie, ask me whatever you want to about the housing market. Just don't ask me about macrame. So deal. I won't do that, okay?
Well, I'm glad because I don't even think I could spell macrame.
I threw that in there because I was going to say what a fun person you are to talk to. Bruce is just kind of this man who knows a little bit about, or a lot of bit really, about an awful lot of things, so that when you find yourself talking mortgages with you, Bruce, probably pretty quickly the conversation can go to other points of interest, and I think that's important for people to know. You're a real human being.
Sure. Well, we try to make the process as enjoyable as possible, and the reality of it is, part of that is people think the mortgage process is super hard, but for most people, it's really straightforward. So we can get your mortgage done. We can figure out. We can give you a bunch of options, and then maybe we can talk about something else that's more interesting.
I guess what also is pretty straightforward, because you've been a part of our show for a long time, and your philosophy has not ever changed, and that is that it's really always a good investment to own real estate. And so when we had this conversation 5 years ago, people might have thought, yeah, but I'm not quite ready. If they had bought, their investment would have risen in value. The same is going to be true today, even though those interest rates are higher.
Yeah, interest rates are high, but we're seeing property values continue to move up. And across the country, you're seeing that. Part of the news around the country gets tamped down about real estate because they use national numbers. And if you think about it, there's a lot of people moving to Tennessee from California. Well, that means in some cities in California, values have gone down.
Right.
And so when you look at national numbers, but when you look at things moving up right here in Chattanooga, we're clicking along. If you look at 20 years prior to the pandemic, properties went up by about 4% a year. If you look at during the pandemic, properties went up double digit. And so real estate appreciation is pretty consistent, and it kind of makes sense because when you look at the issue we're having right now, there's just not enough homes for the people that want to buy homes, so it keeps pushing prices up. Well, you're not seeing enough building where that's going to change. And so we'll continue to see property values go up.
Okay, but I think that people hear you say that, Bruce, and they think, yeah, but if that's the math I'm up against, how do I even compete, especially for first-time home buyers? It's one thing if you own a house and you sell it and you take the profit to then put down the new house. But if you're a first-time home buyer and these prices are going up and up, that's hard for a lot of people.
Well, but the reality of it is so many people right now, what is your other option? What is your other option? If you're not living in somebody's basement, you're paying rent. Well,
Right.
Rent keeps moving up. Well, rents keep moving up because properties keep getting more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is if you buy a house, and let's say you put down 5% on the house, or you do 3%, you put down as little as 3%. Well, that says the value of that home should go up by more than what you invested in it.
Right.
There's more wealth created from real estate than any other class of asset in the United States, and that's going to continue.
You mentioned the rental. On Monday, we'll have a conversation with Brian Beasley, who has an insurance agency here in town, and his topic is going to be the renewal concerns a lot of homeowners are facing, where their policies are not being renewed because of previous claims often. And I would bet that that's also going to be true if you are in a rental situation, because if your landlord's insurance goes up, that's just going to be passed down to you.
It's just going to increase your cost too.
Mm-hmm.
And so so the thing is, if you look at interest rates pre-pandemic were pretty good. They were, say, 4.5%. Well, then interest rates went down to in the threes, and we saw property values skyrocket. Well, what do you think's going to happen when interest rates go from 7% to like 5%? It'll be a bigger change, but there's all these people sitting on the sidelines, so I think we'll see values move up a bunch. So if you're sitting on the sidelines right now saying I want lower interest rates, well, when rates come down, what you'll gain in rate, you'll have a lower interest rate, but the house is going to be a lot more expensive. So the same house is going to cost you more money there.
Right. Okay, that's a good point. And you like to remind people that they need to be looking not so much at their monthly payout on the mortgage, which of course you have to make sure it's within your means, but you're looking at the long-term payout, and those interest rates will change with time.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you look at people that have money in the United States, it's typically business owners or older Americans. Well, older Americans, where is that wealth coming from? Typically, it's from real estate. When you look at grandma and grandpa's wealth, a lot of it's because they have a paid-for house that they paid $50,000 for it, and it's now worth $400,000.
So let's suppose somebody says, okay, this is my time. This weekend I'm going to get my ducks in a row and I'm going to see about buying a house. When they contact you, what do they need to bring to the table, so to speak?
Most of the time, just your knowledge, because for most people, it's pretty straightforward. Almost everybody anymore has an employee portal that you can download every pay stub you ever had. Well, we just need the last two. We just need a couple W-2s. So the answer is kind of two for everything, but typically we're gonna need 2 years W-2s, last two pay stubs, and 2 months bank statements.
Okay.
All of that stuff for almost everybody you could just download.
It's not just that they're giving you're going to give in return, because one of the things that you give your clients is this guarantee, really, that when they go to present an offer on a home, that offer is almost as good as a cash offer.
Absolutely, absolutely, because we go ahead and do the work on the front end. We're going to get all your stuff up front. We're going to make sure you're shopping with 100% assurance. You know that you can do the transaction. You're already approved. We just have to approve the house.
And before I let you run, since we have been talking about people who would be selling a home and buying another one potentially, sometimes those can be the people who get caught the most by surprise, because some of the things that they think they've got covered, when they go through the process with you, they find out their finances might need a little bit of tweaking here and there.
So if you're thinking about selling your house, you probably just want to, first of all, take a look, talk to us, and let's just make sure that there's not going to be any roadblocks for the next purchase. It's information you get. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you're making a business decision, it's a bad idea to make business decisions based on half the equation.
Right.
If you're going to sell a house and you're going to buy a house, you need not just to know how much is your house worth. What is the transaction going to look like for me when I buy a house? You need both those pieces of information before you decide, hey, we're selling our house.
Okay, well, let me give them this information. That's how to get in touch with you. So it's Chatt Mortgage on East Brainerd Road. He'll be happy to talk to you there in the office. If you want to do it by phone or by Zoom, he can do that too. 591-9801 is the phone number, and online it's chattmortgage.com. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Julia, what are you doing? We have a commercial to film.
I'm taking a break.
Breaks are what we're telling people about. Budget breaks.
Visit budgetbreaks.com for location security.